Hello and welcome to Let's Play me, GamerWolfSix of Khemia, the sequel to Adastra, which this game is still in development but on a hiatus because I guess it's a bit darker and more serious than the game that they switched over to making, which is Terra. That one being the midquill, as they say, to Adastra. Basically, the touring months of that game near the end of it. Man, the ending to Adastra, that did emotionally heck me over. Like, I was doing a little bit of audio stuff and listening back to that game, at least the, music that appears when you go to the main menu, did bring back some memories. That was a great game. Got me back into visual novels even. So let's just reset myself and start the game. Oh, and unlike the last one, I'm gonna read this because, you guys like it and it keeps me a bit more mindful. I lay back in the cool blackness of my mind. Also, I'm gonna turn it down for you guys just a bit. It's nice, a sort of half meditation that my mindfulness teacher once taught me several years ago. It helps to calm my mind, put it inward from the outward chaos. It makes me forget the responsibilities that rest upon my shoulders. Mainly, they rest on my mentor's shoulders, but in turn, he rests upon mine. Focus. I admire the way I'm able to isolate my mind in such a place as this. For many months afterwards, setting foot within these walls sent me into a fit of gasping, as if I were drowning. Now, I imagine it to be a different place in time and space. The events are 3 years behind me. Not only that, but that point in space in which it occurred is billions of kilometers away, in a void that we shall never return to. The halls of a university are only an illusion of a consistent space. Rather, we are at a different point in the universe every moment we exist, whether that be at home, school, or on a diplomatic mission to Khemia. Therefore, I am free at the moment, and that place. Now, I'm in a clean space. That's exactly the kind of place I need to exist in mentally to keep this assignment. The type of assignment I've wanted my whole life. A sound mind is one of our most important assets. The past is in the past, and yet the framing of the space is consistent. As I just reasoned, the marble, the statues, the lecture halls, these were all where it happened, and they're here now. So, is that really clean? I have no idea what he's talking about. Stone doesn't live, therefore it cannot witness. But is that even true? I realize that my meditation is veering off course, but it's really easy to be distracted when you're laying on a beach made of marble, and your head is beginning to ache. When my concentration is broken, I sigh, rubbing my paws over the cool, polished marble. Do these marble benches and pillars witness and absorb the lives that speak and move around you? If so, then simply distancing myself from a point in space is useless. The objects most important to the event continue to exist nearby. Has he been smoking weed? The idea of buildings embodying a character isn't my own. My instructor in Adastran architecture once said that long-lasting structures assume identities more distinct than the people who built them, especially as time. We witnessed it. We saw you bleed. I opened my eyes, disturbed by what seemed to be both an inner and an audible voice. It's the lecture halls. I wonder if that's the... I mean, we did do that game and stuff, but the darkness they're talking about? In fact, I pinpointed to the statue right in front of me, the one of Antonia crouched on her pedestal. I frowned, staring at it. I'd certainly heard something from that direction, like a whisper. There's no question that this university is filled with amalgamated spirits, and even the bright morning light that pours in through the windows, Antonia appears eerie to me. Of course, her most famous deed was being an azipotamic carrier of Lucas's fever, while a prisoner of the jackals, the outbreak killing thousands. Asymptomatic. If any statue is haunted, it's likely hers. And then, as I move across the hall, she seems to follow me with her gaze. Not just her eyes, but her head as well. And it's so distinct that I have to... Scipio. Oh gods. I leap into the air, stumbling away from the sudden voice of movement. Vetrius, must you shout? Am I shouting? I consider it to be a perfectly reasonable volume. I suppose my advancement in age only continues, and you must learn to live with it. Sorry that I'm a bit, hard to read. I mean, my reading skills have never been great, and I have been on a 2-week vacation. I rub my chest, looking over the statue, that strange, dark feeling slowly dissipating. You did not wait for me at the entrance to the forest this morning, thus my journey was rather dull. Do you find me at all interesting? I move toward the bench, one further away from the statue of Antonia. Heh, well, now that you've really managed to capture the attention of the flower jackal in the past few weeks, you most certainly are. He is most interesting. Oh, he's meaning, Neferu. Right? Huh, interesting. Also, let's reset myself. And yet you insult him in the same breath. He's a flower. What of it? He's a chameleon. Chameleon? Even chameleons have their boundaries of gender. That jackal seems to be happy to be treated as a woman, as he is to be treated as a man. I sigh, feeling a chasm between our differences in age, now more than ever. Vetrius was once thought of as a leading social progressive, back in the days of that Amicus's father ruled. Now that Amicus is on the throne, much has changed, and he's rather popular with those my age. Not so much with Vetrius. As much as I enjoy our conversation on topics, such as the latest fashions and imported chameleon amusement tech, I was actually asked by Amicus to discuss a few things with you. I have a falling feeling in my chest. I wonder if I've done something wrong. 2 years ago, Vetrius had picked his top 3 students of Khemian culture to train as his assistant and backup for the mission. Wait, I do miss when, I don't know, it feels like these guys are actually trained to be what are they called again? Ambassadors. Instead of, just somebody, wasn't nepotism or something? I had been one of them, and just last week, I was officially chosen by both Amicus and Vetrius. This was despite the fact that I was solidly middling between the other 2 students in our studies. Carbo should have been the one to go to. I was certain that it was a dream, I wonder if reality is about to catch up with me. It was probably clear in my mind that my mind hasn't always been in the present. I think I can turn up the audio just a bit more now. There we go. Oop. Sit, Scipio. I do as I'm told, trying to keep my expression stoic, as I'm to avoid embarrassment no matter which way this conversation leads. And there's main character. Now, do you know why you're picked to accompany the mission? I try to think of a reason that won't make me sound too egotistical. My knowledge of Khemia, especially the youth culture there? Venturous waves his paw. Oh please, Khemian youth culture, as you say, does not matter. Besides, Carbo knew more than you. I blush, even though it's true, and fair statement. Well, the only other reason might be my relationship with Neferu. And Brutus, you cultivated casual Khemian friendships with them, with very little effort. Of course. I did know that having some type of relationship with the actual Khemians we had here would be important. Over the past year, I've made time to speak with them after each of our meetings, making sure to casually meet them if Amicus or Vetrius walk by. I don't know them well, but I needed some type of advantage over Carbo. I tried to make it obvious that while Carbo had his nose in his books, I was talking to real Khemians in casual and friendly way. It seems I made the correct gamble. I mean, it's not difficult, it is difficult for a wolf. Casual friendships only create opportunity for casual betrayals. However, he glances at me from under his bushy brows. It provides opportunity for the casual gathering of intelligence as well. I wince. You want me to spy? Amicus would simply like you to keep an eye on them. As we know by now, Khemian's bluntness is a myth. We can never be sure of their true intentions. What was the myth that they were talking about? I mean, wasn't he here for a diplomatic mission, and that's what he got? Along with some dick, but, you know. I can't think of anything that he seemed to be hiding, really. Well, besides his, what was it? That he was kind of sent here as punishment? I did not become their friend for the sole purpose of personal gain in mind. Still, the friendly feelings are genuine, and spying on them doesn't quite feel right. You accepted the position of diplomat, thus you accepted the responsibility to gather intelligence for your emperor. It is part of your many responsibilities now. Where do I even start? Don't ask me. I'm simply an advisor to the Emperor of Khemian, politics and culture. He only wanted me to prepare you so that it would not come as a complete surprise when you began training. I'm quiet for a moment, knowing that I should have been expecting something like this eventually. Do you really feel you're up to the task? A target like Neferu should be a lucrative one. I smile. Of course, I did accept the position. Like you said, however, Neferu is smarter than he'd have you believe. I doubt he'll give anything away. Oh no, that jackal's head is full of sand. Even the Emperor has publicly said so. Have you not considered that they're planting him to better spy on us? That gives my mentor a pause, and then he shrugs. If they are, then there are some serious issues with the utmost echelons of Khemian power, It's well known Neferu is being punished by being here. I mean, he hates his son so much that he sent him to live in the same place as the general from the old war. A general that would, unsurprisingly, kick his balls into orbit. Which he did. Ha. I sigh, feeling sorry for the jackal, like I always do when I remember that event. Immortalized by the drone footage is what the jackal is most well known for. That does seem like a typo, but now that I can read it, it's like maybe that is fine. He walks in a few moments later with Brutus, the Khemia ambassador to Adastra. So, one second. Walks in a few moments. So Brutus is the Khemia ambassador? Because that's Brutus. I know that because the things I saw, kind of. But he doesn't look very jackally. He seems very wolf-like. Maybe he's a wolf that works for the jackals to be the ambassador of the wolves? I don't know. It'll probably be cleared up soon. They nod at me as usual, but then take their seats in the far corner of the room, apparently taking this time to discuss their own matters. The rest of the planned envoy shows up shortly after, and they begin one of our bi-weekly meetings. It feels slightly different now that my peers are gone, but aside from the room feeling a little more empty, business progresses as usual. It's a rather casual fare, if not a depressing one, due to our lack of progress. That is, unless the vizier shows up. He does so unannounced every few months or so after arriving on the stretch. Otherwise, we discuss how wolfish society and culture should approach its various Khemia counterparts. Then Amicus and Neferu argue for a while just how wolves must learn to separate diplomacy from outright lies, which Amicus agrees is the same thing. I guess there is my mental problem of me reading this and interpreting it, because how do you do... Is it that wolves interpret diplomacy as lies, or... bugger. Yeah, well. Then, we get the usually somber news from Com about the situation on Earth. Somber? That doesn't sound good. Today is no different. Amicus always goes quiet during these moments, especially now that the news is especially grim. It's the plan, right? You recall that 3 days ago, after the deaths of three American diplomats who came into contact with the human, it had been discovered that he is sporadically shedding avia pox virus. Ooh. So, our character brought a deadly virus to Earth? Unfortunately, there have been further developments in which one of the diplomats visited an establishment that serves food and beverage. 4 British officials were infected by this diplomat, and all subsequently perished in the past 2 days. The human has been placed under quarantine, and talks between nations have come to a halt for the time being. Well, fuck. I was like, oh, so we're gonna go to Earth and there's gonna be some maybe Men in Black stuff, but then it's like, oh no, the human was carrying the deadly virus that almost killed him in the first place and is killing diplomats at an alarming rate. The United States of America and the United Kingdom have threatened to withdraw from talks if there are further casualties. I guess this game... When does... Hold on a sec. I have to look. Adastra Khemia. When did this game start being in development? 2000? I mean, I guess Adastra wasn't too far into the future. Patreon released 2020 to present, even though it's on hiatus. Huh. Then when did Adastra come out? Now I have to look at that. Because, like, either this game kind of predicted a horrible virus, kind of, or, they are just like, you know what's, in the thing? Horrible diseases. Okay, Adastra, Patreon release 2020 as well. Started in 2018. Huh, okay. Has no face. Oop, back up. Okay, further caches. However, there appears to be no further spread of the virus at this time, likely due to its severity and surprisingly always fatal nature in humans. Can we send... I was gonna say, was it? We've gone through this thing. I should know these words. Vaccine? Yeah, vaccines. I don't know. If this game also had COVID in it, you'd think people would be like, oh, yeah, we just do it over Zoom or whatever. I don't understand many of the Earth words, but I know the news is bad. So wait, does the vocab or whatever it's called, it goes into one person, then it just kind of spreads throughout the galaxy, so, everybody gets updates, or is it that it's individual, so if anybody comes into contact with human stuff, it just, stuff updates. Also, wait, he doesn't understand the human words? Doesn't it, wouldn't it update? How could aviapox be so lethal to these humans? And these threats to end talks, being part of the Galaxis, makes one unused to the idea of hard borders on one's own planet. And he angry. Amicus grumbles under his breath. How could they be so goddamn stupid? At first I wonder if he's talking about the humans, which I find unfair. Then I wonder if he's speaking of the parents, which I find rather terrifying. He then raises his voice. Do we know of any sapiens that can contract aviapox and remain contagious after initial infection? Ahem. I'm not a virologist, but considering how little we know of the effects of the virus in humans, anything could be possible. That does bring a question. If I got the chickenpox at one point. If I got the chickenpox, and if you get chickenpox, you can get, shingles. If you get the vaccine of chickenpox, and, come in contact with somebody with chickenpox, do you also get shingles later? Or are you immune to shingles? And if I got the vaccine of chickenpox, does that mean I would be immune to shingles? I don't know. Bugger. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Sorry, a family member wanted me to move a television. Yeah, the problems with, living with family. That is what it is. Anyways. Yes, and due to parental negligence, he's in quarantine. I'm beginning to think we need to bring him back. Like, back here. Back home. Amicus almost shouts. The first time I've heard him do so. The parents do work in most mysterious by making the human appear as if he were a mere bioweapon. What the hell are they playing at? Virginia, who had been silent throughout most of the discussion, clears her throat. I mean, yeah, it does seem to be a big problem. Be like, hey, we abducted this guy, but then brought him back, and he's your ambassador. Oh wait, he's full of a virus that has a extremely high death rate. Yeah, that would make most humans and governments go absolutely, for lack of a better word, apeshit. Though I guess it would also be quite apt in a way. How's that? Sorry. Unfortunately, Amicus, we know parents are not able to foresee all things. We can only control our own duties on our own plane of existence. I know his relationship with the human is close, though how close is wildly different depending on who you ask. It's clear he's more rattled than I've ever seen him, though. His paws shaking on his knees. Speaking of which, you had something to announce to our envoy before the Empire was a whole, did you not? Did I? There's Amicus. Be like, wait, what was I doing? Virginia sighs. Oh yes, sorry, the parental catastrophe on Earth had me slightly distracted. As you all know, our discussions with the Vizier and the Pharaoh have gone nowhere. To show Khemia that Adastra is truly dedicated to the Alliance, Amicus swallows as if he's having trouble getting the words out of his throat. I will also be joining the envoy, despite the many hardships this will bring to our world. I do believe the benefits will outweigh the cost. Oh, so you'll be joining us? I'm surprised. Even I wouldn't have gone into father's pompous demand so easily. We negotiated for 3 months, Neferu. Anyway, during this time, Virginia will fill the role as acting empress. I widen my eyes, if only because it's the first time I've heard such words put together. Vetrius visibly blanches. Never heard that word. On Neferu and Brutus barely react at all. What is blanches? I have to look that up. It's kind of weird because I don't think the person that made this game is outside the United States. They could be. But, make white or pale by distracting color.
Blanche.
Blanche? Huh. Might as well check my face as well. Of course. Thank you, Amicus. I'll perform to the best of my abilities during your absence. You always do, Virginia. This means we should all keep in mind the fact that departure could occur any day now, depending on when ship arrives. The ship. My eyes widen. So that's why I was chosen now. The day that it always seems so distant is nigh. Now I must be off. I have to have a discussion with the parents once again to make sure we're actually still on some sort of track. I actually looked up. He does have like a lip piercing. Well, maybe not a lip piercing, but like a thing down under his lip, which I feel like that would just agitate you, you know? But I don't know. It's dark by the time we're heading out. On the way, Amicus corners me to covertly, ask if I had a discussion with Vetrius, which I confirm. Then Amicus glances over at Neferu, who's leaning up against a pillar. I take the hint, and as everyone else leaves, I approach the jackal, suddenly feeling nervous for some reason. Not some reason, but because now things are a bit different now on my end. Well, hello there, chosen one. Usually it is me that approaches you. I shrug as casually as possible. Well, considering that my role is now certain, I thought we should acquaint ourselves further. Is that so? Well, how do you think we could do that? Well, we could bang. I sidestep his theatrics. Do you have any interesting plans for the night? Maybe you can help me better understand the Khemian way of things. That would be rather difficult to do on this planet, but as for plans, well, not particularly. Hey, ready to go, Nerf? Oh, hey there, Skip. Still, is he a wolf? If I had to pick him, he would be a wolf, though I haven't seen more jackals than him. Hello. I'm at least able not to wince anymore whenever they use that children's nickname. That depends, Brutus. First, I was meaning to ask Skip if he would like to visit the den with me. A den. I blink. That's not exactly something you say loudly in a quiet room. That's also something he'd never ask me, despite his notoriously promiscuous reputation. Is it because I'm now guaranteed? Would he have asked the same of Carbo? I imagine that bookish wolf in his situation is worthy of a laugh. In this situation. Maybe Vetrius and Amicus know more about this relationship of ours than I do myself. Still, it's something I've done several times before. But Neferu, being a Khemian, changes a lot. Well, alright then, have fun you two. The giant creature doesn't wait for my response before turning to head out, leave me alone with Neferu in an empty university. He's still waiting on an answer. Normally, with another wolf, male or female, I would agree. Then we'd stop at the bars along the way, and possibly, or possibly not, end up in a den. What is a den anyways? Well, I guess we'll find out. The thing, I know maybe a little bit about what happens in this game. Like, maybe it's like a den for, like, hookahs or something? I don't know. It is a weekly occurrence during my first few years attending the university. Yet my heart flutters, like I'm 10 years younger, about to experience a den for the first time. Yes, I'd like to. Wonderful. I suddenly feel a bit warm at the idea of Khemian finding me attractive enough to bring to a den. So wait, is a den like a fuck room or something? We're similar in structure, so it makes sense, but still. Neferu offers me an arm, as if he escorts me. There's an establishment in the city, in the Clay District, we can go to. Ah. Is that place you've had problems? A place. Oh, it's more the place has a problem with me. They're not a fan of the elite. I say that with some exacerbation, not really feeling elite in any way. It's calmed down a fair bit in the past 3 years, hasn't it? I still avoid it when I can. I'll keep you safe. He's right that it has been a long time, and as far as I know, no man-maned wolves have been attacked recently. Manned? The jackal keeps my arm around his the entire time, and I speculate that it's some sort of Khemian ritual before sexual intercourse. So wait, we are going to fuck? Man, I didn't think Scipio to be somebody that goes to a fuck den. Granted, I don't know much about him, but still, it's like, So dense like a... I'm not a promiscuous type-ish. Well, when it comes to actually interacting with people. But I mean, I don't know. College. Didn't, do much in college. In the I begin taking mental notes. I quickly forget about the other, possibly hostile, pedestrians as we get close to the dens. I'm very nervous, and that's embarrassing for someone like me, well into their 20s. The entrance is a shabby side door where Neferu signs in and pays, ignoring the stairs before we're led down an air hall into our personal den. Lights are dim low, and Neferu fumbles with the switch while I sit on the bed. As the artificial windows glow more brilliantly behind Neferu, filling the room with light, I'm hit with nostalgia from the first time that wasn't all that long ago. It's cramped, slightly tacky, and still pleasant, but still pleasant. The dens were mainly frequented by students who were there on their third warning for fornicating on campus. How often do wolves bang? Oh no. I still live on campus, and while I know Neferu lives in the Imperial District, I don't know his exact situation. It's weird that I thought this would be, like, quite well into the game and not, well, I'm the ambassador now, so I might as well fuck the Emperor's son. I mean, the, Pharaoh's son. I assume there's a reason he brought me here instead of his place. I assume you're familiar with this type of place. I glance at him, and he smiles toothedly. Sexual intercourse is forbidden on all grounds of Pharaoh's University. Neferu rolls his eyes, grabbing a bottle of wine. And here I thought wolves were sexually liberated. Well, we are. It just happens to be the leading university on the moon. Oh, I think I might have double-tapped that. Okay, guess not. Neferu leans casually against the armrest, drinking straight from the bottle. I attend the best university on Galaxis, and there were rooms dedicated to that act on campus. I bristle slightly at the dig at my school, even if it's true that most every other school in Khemia is far superior. I'm about to ask why he brought me here instead of his own place, when he suddenly sits up. Anyway, to celebrate your promotion, I thought it'd help you with your research on Khemians. Have you ever copulated with one? My throat is suddenly very dry as I shake my head. Well, actually, what's our time? Yeah, we are over time, but I thought maybe for the first episode it would go a bit longer. Which I should do, but, seems like we're already in a thing. Jackal sits up straighter, showing off his physique. His fur is shorter compared to mine, giving him an advantage of being able to show off his muscles on his chest and stomach. Finally, he slides down his loincloth, like clothing. The jackal is moving boldly, in a way that makes you wonder if he's trying to make it less strange for me. Get it all out of the way quickly and get used to it. Although I know what to expect, I'm still left staring in fascination. While very different from my own, it fits well on his frame, and as he moves closer, I find myself reaching out Simon paws up his thighs, then around to cup his rear. This is the moment that my hesitance drops, and I pull the jackal close, kissing his groin and abdomen, making him gasp. It's a long session of sorts, though not very much happens. I find myself indulging in wine as well, as Neferu seems to really enjoy simply touching me. At first I'm a bit confused, unsure if it's some type of foreplay, but then I realize he's encouraged me to hug back. At some point, we simply end up entangled together. His arms are around me tightly, and I can smell the wine on his breath. I don't ask him, because it would be rude, but I generally wonder if he's lonely. I reach back to rest upon his shoulder, just in case he needs reassurance, then slowly fall asleep. So did you guys not fuck? You just kind of got drunk and cuddled? I wake up, and what happens in the following moments take many hours for me to put together my mind. The door to our den is open, and I wonder why, because it should be locked. Is Neferu? He's sleeping next to me, but that's when a large, dark figure stands up beside our bed. Is he going to take a picture of us? It's going to be some kind of, like, horrible thing? There's something in his paw, and for a moment I try to yell, but nothing happens. The dark, blocky shape of his head turns to my direction, noticing me awake, and my guts turn to water. There's almost a ticklish sensation in my lower stomach that makes me think I'm urinating. He moves, but then there's a harsh, ear-snapping crack before my eyes. I see the man, a sapient, bend and warp in the shape of a wave before blasting apart. I'm splattered with wetness, by smells that I haven't smelled since... The fuck's happening? I guess that with that cliffhanger and us being overtime by a bit, we might want to call it. Actually, let's continue. The light goes on, floating around us, displaying the horror. What the hell happened, Calm? Neferu is moving around beside me, but I can't move. I smell this prison all over me, this person. I'm covered in him. As an assassination attempt was attempted on the lives of Neferu and Scipio, separatist connections are suspected. Amicus has been notified. I don't know, you think you'd take him alive? The drone light turns to illuminate the wall, and I see everything. No. Target is fully neutralized. Bodily state is incompatible with life. No. Skip. I grasp at my name. I grasp at my mane, and I feel them pulling at it. Are they coming to pull me out? What? Neferu finally focuses on me after fumbling around for the lights. I need to get out. Can't breathe. I roll off the bed, feeling the blood and viscera in my fur as I try to crawl under the bed, but find no space. Then I crawl behind the sofa, still covering my mane, avoiding the blood in the streets, avoiding the men and the bricks torn from the university. With the bricks. Streets, avoiding the men with the bricks torn from the university. Avoiding looking at one of my old professors getting his head smashed in with one of those bricks. I cover my eyes, waiting. Someone, Neferu, touches my shoulder. I cover my mane and tremble until I'm finally able to bring the present back into focus. One that's no better than the past. I guess he's having a horrible flashback at PTSD instant. I look up to see Neferu staring at me. He's seen it. He's seen what's wrong with me. How will they ever let me go now? I know I'm not going to Khemia anymore. Yeah, I think that might be a good time to call, because I'm confused and we are definitely over time. Even though, it's kind of planned. Oh, it's confusing. Woof. So, assassination? Like copulation, horrible virus, assassination attempt, unless that's some kind of horrible dream thing, and then PTSD flashbacks. And I wonder what that icon's supposed to be down there. It kind of looks like a red Homer Simpson. I'm going to take a bit closer look when, it finishes. And that's going to be the end of this Let's Play. No wonder it was dark. So anyways, please comment, because I like comments, tell me what you like, dislike, tips, tricks. Otherwise, if you like my YouTube and like to see it grow, then please like, subscribe, and share the video epic grow. Please remember to spend your ammo, self-control, the pit population. And until next time, I'll say, me, GamerWolfSix of Khemia. Khemia? Khemia. Yeah, that's it. See ya.